All right, folks. Well, without further ado, I am going to go ahead and get started. Welcome everyone to the event today. I would suspect that if you're here with us today, you're probably facing a challenge that many here in the room can in some way recognize, and that is the fact that it's hard. It's increasingly difficult to stand out in a noisy and crowded marketing landscape. I know that all of us, including myself here at MindFire, we know that traditional channels like direct mail and the digital channels that we're accustomed to, those things work, but more than ever, they're saturated, right? And so that's why we're here today, because we want to show you a new marketing channel, a new technology that lets you engage customers instantly where most of them are, which is on their cell phones. It's a technology that allows you to seamlessly connect your physical and digital marketing efforts together. It works with your existing loyalty and CRM systems if you're running this on behalf of customers, or if you're running it for yourselves. It integrates well with your existing technology or the technology that your customers have. And something that really gets me fired up whenever I have an opportunity to talk to this topic in front of an audience is the fact that it lets you target customers based on their exact location, their physical location in real time. And to help you think through this and how you can apply it to your business, or if you are here thinking about how you can use it for your customers, we've brought together a panel to help you understand that. And by the end of the session, after hearing from them and looking at some of the case studies that we've prepared for you, I believe you will walk out of the session today with an idea around how you can integrate this within your existing MindFire marketing stack if you're already a MindFire customer, or perhaps how you can use it to drive results for your customer or your clients who are also facing these challenges that you are working to solve. So if you're a MindFire client, or heck, even if you're not, make sure to reach out to us after the event today. But in particular, if you already have MindFire and you're using our technology, reach out to your account manager after today's session and we can continue the conversation there one-on-one with you around how you can apply this to your clients and to your campaigns. If you don't know who your MindFire account manager is, please let me know in the chat so I can fire them right away. That's a dad joke. I'm not going to fire anybody, but please let us know in the chat. If you don't know who your account manager is, we'll get you connected. Now, let me introduce you to the panel, a fantastic panel of speakers that we have lined up for you today. First up is Lewis. And I've had an opportunity to know Lewis for a couple of years now, and I would say he's one of those rare technology leaders who is able to see where the industry is headed before it gets there. And for over 2 decades, he's been at the forefront of digital innovation and is now CEO of the Wallet Group, like you see here on the screen, founder and CEO. And through what he does there, he's been helping brands connect with their customers through digital wallet technology. Now, before this, he launched Insider Data 360. That's a company that now serves over 14,000 brands, and he also led a premier national tech agency. But here's something that I think is really cool about Lewis. 2 things that I've come to learn about him. Number one is he loves software, which makes sense. But second, he loves outer space of all things. And he told me that if you get him started on either of those topics, you won't get him to stop talking. Lewis, thank you for being here today. I'm curious, what is it about outer space that draws you so much to that topic?
I just love the unknown and like how little we know about all of that topic. I personally get sucked into these stories from NASA that I just can't stop reading.
Really interesting. I got more to talk to you about there then, for sure. Next up is Tom Pederson. You can see him here on the screen, and coincidentally, I guess, or strangely, just like Lewis, Tom is also a huge space enthusiast. You guys could probably have a podcast of your own talking about astronomy or something. Maybe the universe is giving you a little nudge in that direction. But what makes Tom really special to the conversation today is that he brings experience from owning a digital printing company. How many of you are printers here in the room? Let us know in the chat. Drop the word print if you're a printer here. Tom's background is in digital printing, and that's what's brought him to co-found his current company called Casino Mail Online. For almost 20 years, he's been finding ways and pioneering new techniques to merge print with digital communication, and specifically now in the casino industry. Tom's got a lot of creative strategies. You're going to hear about them today. I've known Tom, I don't know, maybe 10 years, 15 years. Tom, you'll have to remind me here. And one of the things that stands
18.
out, 18? Okay, man, I was 5 years old when we met, right? One of the things, one of the many things that stands out about Tom, folks, is that he has a unique sense. He and his company have a unique way of combining technology to meet marketing needs in some really creative and innovative ways. So Tom, thank you for being here today, and I'm looking forward to having you share with the community. How are you?
Thanks, Dave. Doing great. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you. And last but certainly not least is Kushal Dutta. He's not a space enthusiast. His claim to fame, he says, is that he enjoys Bollywood karaoke. Kushal, I have to admit, I don't know exactly what that is, but I can make some guesses. And although you say you're not very good at it, I have seen you let loose at different industry events, and I think you're actually probably better than you think. But that aside, in his day job, Kushal is EVP of Product Management here at MindFire, and he has spent over 15 years helping our clients, helping the industry leverage new marketing channels and technology, weaving them into omnichannel software that many of you here on the call have to achieve amazing results. Kushal, I think you're the perfect person to talk to us today about how this wallet technology is something that our MindFire clients can start to use. Thank you for being here, and I appreciate your time with us today. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you. Thank you for having me here.
Absolutely.
And welcome,
Kushal.
everyone.
Thank you. Thank you. Leading up to the webinar, folks, you were emailed a link to download the webinar pass for your wallet. If you downloaded this, I'd like to know, drop a 1 in the chat. Who got this and who put it in their wallet? Drop a 1 there in the chat if you got this. Please drop a 1 there in the chat. If you did, you'll notice that the back and the front of this pass, and we're going to be defining these terms as we go through the event today, but you'll notice it's highly customized. That's something that I want to keep front and center for you as we go through this discussion, okay? Because there are some unique opportunities on these passes when they get into the wallet on our phone for us as marketers to begin to engage the recipients of those passes. Now, I don't want to make any assumptions. How many of you here have at least one card in your phone's wallet right now? Drop a yes in the chat if you have at least one in your wallet right now. Drop a yes. I see Kevin saying yes, Steven saying yes, Kim says yes. Who else? Let me go with the converse. Tom says yes. Who doesn't have anything in their wallet? Who's never used a wallet? Drop no in the chat if you've never used your wallet on your phone. It's okay. We're here with friends. Don't be afraid. Don says no. Ray says no. Ray, this is actually very applicable for stuff that I know you and I are talking about. So it looks like a few of you have not. That's fine. What we're going to do is we're going to walk you through this so you can understand whether you already use your wallet, maybe for things like boarding passes and tickets, or even if you haven't ever used your wallet on your phone. We want to equip you with understanding how you can begin to use this from a marketing perspective. I have one more question for all of you here in the audience. For those of you who do use your wallet, what are you using it for? Mobile payments. Every time I go to Chick-fil-A with my kids, I whip out my phone, and that's how I pay for Chick-fil-A. We're there probably 10 times a week. Or boarding passes. I use that every time I fly. I put it into my wallet on my phone. So what are you all using it for? Loyalty cards, payment, tickets. Okay, so I see airline boarding passes. Brenda saying boarding passes. Hey, Brenda. ATM card, gym pass, event tickets, gym pass, loyalty cards. So for those of you who are not using your wallet, you're hearing how the other folks here are starting to really lean into using that wallet technology. Driver's license. Steve, that's good. Boarding pass. Concerts for David, also the gym, and for airlines. That's fantastic. Thank you for sharing that, folks. Now, Lewis, I want to bring you on here and start getting into the meat and potatoes here. Let's dive into something that I think probably everyone's wondering about. And that is, we've all got email subscriptions and we get texts cluttering our phones and our inboxes. I would like you for a moment just to talk about what makes the Wallet Pass fundamentally different, and why do you think that marketers are so excited about this technology?
Yeah, great question. Yeah, so there's a number of pieces that really sets a wallet card apart from some of those traditional mediums that are out there, right? Your text, your mail, your email, even that of like a mobile app. And so it's one of the most frictionless technologies in market. And so what I mean by that is, it's very easy to put one of these very quickly on the phone, right? Depending on the wallet or what settings you have, it may or may not even require a download. It might just go right into the wallet. And depending again on use case, may not even require any type of registration, right? If it's not membership, it just goes right in very anonymously. And once that wallet card is ultimately in the wallet, the brand gets this unprecedented access to be able to send notifications and geo-target messages to those individuals that hold that wallet pass. And we see this all the time. We might forget about it, but just imagine the last time we were at the airport, we added that ticket to the wallet. We pulled up in the parking lot, and that ticket was conveniently displayed on the front of our lock screen. It's no magic. It's using the geofence capabilities of our wallet that's already kind of embedded in that ticket. And again, when that flight says it's delayed or a boarding pass might have been changed from a gate A to B, it's no magic. It's using push technology embedded inside the mobile wallet.
Super exciting. So we're going to talk about some of the use cases. You mentioned one right there, and I think many probably here in the audience have experienced that. But Tom, let's talk about the work that you do with casinos. I know casinos are very data driven, and that they're all at kind of different stages of that digital journey, that data driven digital journey. But I've had the chance to kind of have a sneak peek at some of the different ways that you're thinking about using the Wallet Pass and that you've designed it for some of your customers. And one of the things that strikes me when I look at your examples is how different each one of those is. So I'm wondering if you could just kind of walk us through the different creative possibilities that you've come up with, that your team has come up with, and what do you think businesses can do to customize those experiences to make the passes unique to their brand and the experience that they want to give their consumers?
For sure. Thanks, Dave. The front of the pass and the back of the pass are both highly customizable. So the front features, you can feature graphics, thumbnails, banners, QR codes. All those are easily controlled by the account manager in the simple to easy use platform. And the back of the wallet is very robust. It's got a springboard that features links to virtually anywhere you want to link to. Plus, it's got a very robust smell piece back there that you can design virtually literally anything on the back and the front of the pass, and it's all so easily done just in a few minutes time. But the back also features a registration component and also a component where you can survey your players for their preferences and then send preference-based messaging based on that. But it's very easy for users to configure one of these passes in as little as 2 or 3 hours, a complete workup. So
when you're saying users,
very. Go ahead.
In that situation, Tom, when you're saying users, you mean somebody at in your company or your customer's location who is customizing those passes? Is that what you mean? Yeah. Usually it'd be an account manager that represents the account, and they can put together, or even in this product is so easy to use that even the account themselves could put this together for themselves. Okay. But agencies can use it. Yeah. So it's very, very easy to use. Kushal, you've been leading our team here at MindFire to figure out how to weave this technology, this new channel as part of that, the Omnichannel framework here, into what folks are doing with direct mail and the other channels that they manage through MindFire. And so I'd love to hear from you just briefly here. Share a bit about what was the value that we saw in adding this in as a channel within the MindFire Omnichannel framework.
So we at MindFire, as most of you know, we have been very focused on helping our print marketing partners with omnichannel marketing technology and allowing them to connect the offline media with the online media. The Wallet Pass turns out to be an extremely efficient and easy to use way, as you heard from Tom, to connect the offline media to a mobile marketing technology. And that's really what interested us in integrating this technology into our system. Using our integration, you can not only send wallet passes out as QR codes with your print pieces, but you can also generate personalized wallet passes, which can be personalized to individuals that you're sending mail to. And it allows our customers to send mobile marketing messages to their audience very quickly, including geofenced and proximity-based messaging, such as, as Tom is trying to do. Somebody's walking by the buffet at the casino, and they within 50 feet, and they get a message on their phone saying that, okay, we have a BOGO going on till noon today. Come in if you like, things like that. So we basically augmenting the print piece with mobile marketing is what really is the big value add here.
So friends here in the audience, if you want to kind of see a visual of how we talk about incorporating the wallet as another channel within the Omnichannel framework, if you don't have that visual, there's actually a schematic that we share with many of our customers and folks in the industry. Drop the word Omnichannel framework or the phrase Omnichannel framework there in the chat, and I'll make sure that my team gets that to you after the event today, because I think it'll help you kind of understand where this can fit into. I know many of you here are doing direct mail. how does this fit into a direct mail campaign, a direct mail strategy in a way that's going to create the results that you're looking for? So drop Omnichannel framework there in the chat, and I'll make sure to get that to you after the event today. Louis, let's talk about something that I'm sure many of us here have experienced. I saw there's a good number here who are using the Wallet Pass, but also some who are not. I use it probably most often when I'm getting on a plane or when I'm about to take a flight. But I think what we're discussing today goes kind of beyond that, just putting the boarding pass into the phone. I'd love for you to just talk a little bit about what makes this technology special and kind of a game changer for businesses. What are some of the more avant-garde or leading edge use cases that you're seeing?
Yeah, absolutely. There's so many different use cases, as we just touched on. It's truly a unique channel with a wide net of different applications. Today in industry, right, most individuals are going to understand the wallet as possibly a spot to link our credit cards, Dave, as you talked about, and maybe some of that payment mechanism, or primarily a ticket, right? It could be that boarding pass or a ticket with Live Nation to your favorite sports game. But like, think outside of that, there's, this is a digital asset that's living in the phone. It's got a scannable in the front. So of course it's got that intrinsic ability to become like a membership piece where you can then gain access to a gym or to various different components that might require a scannable to recognize who you are. On the front, it could also be a different type of barcode that could also serve as like a discounted loyalty coupon that could change and dynamically update based on the experience you have with that particular brand. Because the wallet card is so robust with the front and back, and it can constantly change, it could be, anything from an experience to drive engagement about, let's say it's a retailer and general consumers are just unfamiliar that mall might have that retailer. Well, you could send out an alert, or you could use the geo properties built into the wallet to just kind of nudge someone to say, hey, right behind the Macy's, come on up and here's the discount. Or if it's an express checkout and, a lot of times at register, people are kind of fumbling through to look up the right phone number, right, at like the CVS experience. And so to break out a wallet card and say, here's my phone number, scan it, it kind of brings them right into the system. So loyalty, discounts, promotion, customer acquisition off of other channels that you have. It's really a wide net of use cases.
I'm curious, Louis, here in terms of, the generational differences around how different generations look at technology. I'm thinking about my mother-in-law and father-in-law as an example, and they're like, they don't even use an ATM card. They go to the bank. I didn't even know banks still existed, physical banks, but apparently they do. And for me to suggest to them that, hey, you're going to put something on your phone that you're going to use to pay, or it's going to be your boarding pass to get on a plane, is like, it just blows their mind. Are they atypical, or do you see generational differences around how folks are using this technology?
No, it's a great question, right? There is no doubt that there's a generational gap between the use of the wallet. It's only been out for about 10, 12 years, depending on if you look at the early years of Apple when they deployed what they call Passport, which is now what we call Apple Wallet. But the fundamental thing, Dave, I want to kind of backtrack just in terms of the generation, is that there's kind of two ways. I know we're going to get to this throughout the presentation, but how you actually get a card into the wallet. It's very, very frictionless. And I touched on that before. It's a scan of a QR code, which you see here on the screen, or a click the link. And once you do one of those two simple actions, that card automatically goes into the wallet. So whether your parents even know they have a wallet on their phone, it's a moot point. It doesn't matter. That card goes right into the phone, slips right into the wallet. And because we're using geo and push notifications like any other mobile app on the device, your parents don't even have to use the wallet in that form, because they're going to get an alert from that brand. They're going to click that alert on the lock screen, and they're going to be brought back into the wallet with the experience on the card. So the generational piece, yes, not as many individuals maybe of an older age are typically accustomed to using the wallet or maybe loading in payments, but at the end of the day, the technology is so frictionless and the experience it provides is kind of seamless. You don't need to be this heavy advocate for the wallet and like know where it is and bookmark it and be in it every day to actually take advantage of it.
So audience, here's what I want to know from you as you're listening to Louis and Tom talk about this and Kushal kind of laying the landscape here for us. Are you seeing how you could connect this to, let's say, a direct mail campaign through a PQR, through a personalized QR code? Or if you have clients who have physical locations, Ray, I'm thinking about you and kind of what you're doing now, where there are physical locations. Can you envision use cases where, like you see here on the screen, there is some way to engage the consumer with this pass, slip it. I like how you said that, Louis, slip it into their phone and then have it there as another mechanism of communication. Drop a yes in the chat if you're getting this. If you have questions about how that works, also let us know in the chat. That's why these folks are here. Michael is saying, yes, it's making sense. I want to know from the rest of you, is this making sense? Kim, makes sense to you? Brenda, I'd love to hear from you. Is this making sense and kind of what your thoughts are around this? Please drop that in the chat. Now, Louis, I know some folks are probably thinking, hey, it sounds good, sounds interesting. Looks like folks are getting what you're laying down. But how heavy a lift is this? I want to know kind of about the implementation. What does the timeline look from, like, when somebody makes a decision that they want to take a step forward with this to launching it? And what does a company need to have in place to make this successful?
Yeah, great. Another great question. And it's actually quite simple. Tom, you touched on it a little bit ago, is that it's literally something, and that's what makes it so special, right? From a consumer standpoint, we just acknowledge it's very simple, very straightforward. But even from a brand perspective, take a casino, take a retailer, take an MSP, a CPG group, very easy. They're going to go in, they're going to build and design that card in a very easy to use platform. Someone to kind of a drag and drop, put their logos, put their scannables, possibly link it. All of the data is already built into it. And they can literally get this into their market, into their audience virtually overnight. So if they have a run of print, or they have a giant newsletter that's going to go out, or they're going to, put a QR code at all 1,800 locations coast to coast, they can put that QR code overnight and automatically have those scans going out and virtually at scale hit 10, 15, 20 million people on that card platform. Think about if you had to do that with like a mobile app and the leeway
Right.
and the technology and the support. Not saying anything bad about it. It's just, it is something that you can physically as a brand execute in a matter of days and scale to millions.
Tom, I know you've mentioned that the ability to message folks through the Wallet Pass is something that you've seen kind of transformative for how a casino engages with their floor traffic in real time. Let's talk about that a little bit more. Can you peel that apart, kind of walk us through a specific example of how that portion works?
Yeah, so I just think that the instant messaging capability and the advanced messaging capability is such a huge benefit for brands. So there's three types of messaging that can go out. There's general messaging that would be a message that managers can deploy to every cardholder. Then there's geofencing, where you can create a multitude of fences around your competitors, and when any of your cardholders pass that fence or cross that boundary, they're gonna get a ping on their phone to, in my case, come back to the casino, where you belong. You can put those fences around competing casinos, large retailers. I always use Walmart as an example. If you've got a casino, let's say across from Walmart or a large retail strip, you can put a geofence in that parking lot. And when your cardholder passes into the Walmart, they're going to get pinged, hey, why not come across the street and play a little, right? And then the third type of messaging is internal messaging that can go on inside the retail establishment, or in my case, the casino. So you can put a Bluetooth beacon up and say in the buffet. So a person would walk by the buffet within 30 to 50 feet of that beacon. And if the buffet is slow, the manager could ramp that messaging up at will right off of his mobile device. So all the messaging is controlled from your mobile device or from your desktop PC. But you don't necessarily have to go back to your office to send and manage messaging. You just whip your mobile phone up and you can you can control the geos, you can control the beacon messaging, and you can also control the general messaging. And the whole point is you can react to conditions on, in my case, the casino floor in real time, just by grabbing your phone, examining what's going around, and sending out appropriate messages, change them back when conditions improve. So it's really wonderful.
Is that making sense, folks? I want to know from the audience, are you understanding the 4 different types of opportunities? I want Mike, I know Brenda, you're saying you'd like to see a demonstration. I want to hear from those of you who are here. Mike, Jeff, Joe, John, Austin, is this making sense? One of the things that you just said there, I think, is worth kind of underlining here, folks, if you're taking notes. So if you have customers that have retail locations, if you're a printer here or you're an agency, or if you are a brand that has multiple locations, not only can you geofence your locations, but there's a competitive blunting strategy here as well by geofencing your competition. so that you are able to interject your brand in front of your customers, your consumers, when they happen to be near one of the competition locations, one of the competing locations. I want to make sure you're hearing all of that so you can start to think about how you could use that for your customers or how you could use that for yourself if you are in that situation. Tom, I want you to go into some of these case studies now that we've prepared here. And the first one that you've got here is around casino marketing. I know something that is near and dear to your heart. Can you tell us a little bit more about how this casino is going to use the Wallet Pass and how specifically it's going to help them with, those slow nights where things are a little less busy than they would like? And, tell us about how they can use this to drive the engagement. And folks, as Tom is sharing this, I want you to remember, think about how you can apply this to your situation, whether you're servicing customers or you are a brand yourself. I think there's applicability in what Tom's about to share here. So Tom, take us through this.
Yeah, so the wallet is a perfect fit for the casino. The use case for the casino and the wallet are so perfectly matched. It really makes sense to use the casino as an example, and you can extrapolate from there a lot of different use cases, okay? So the theory with the casinos is that the casinos, the card becomes their digital player's card. So every player would be motivated to scan and load this card so that they don't necessarily have to scan to play, or if they need their player ID, they have a reference, or if they want to contact anyone from the casino, they can just flip the wallet card over and access the casino that way. But the digital player's card lives in the casino player's wallet, and the manager at the casino can easily just message based on conditions in the casino to the player. So, a couple of the notes there says increased traffic on slow days. So an example is the casino's slow on a Tuesday night. The manager of the casino can just look around and ramp up the messaging at the geolocations. He can ramp up the messaging off the beacons that are going to shoot messages to players inside the casino. And he can also send general messages to players just to increase traffic on slow days, within seconds. And then as soon as the conditions improve, of course, you can just break your phone out or you go back up to your PC and change those messages back. One thing to note is that, this thing, you can send the messages so easily. We've all have apps on our phones. And I don't know if we're really getting a lot of notifications. I know that I don't see a lot of notifications coming out. It's usually because a third party has to manage those notifications, or the app builder themselves have to manage those notifications. But this puts the messaging in the palm of the actual, casino management in my case. So yeah, it's very, very useful for the casino industry and the messaging to, just prime business for slow days and for any other urgent matters. The casino industry can't communicate fast enough. So this really provides a mechanism to get that done.
Yeah, reduces the friction significantly between needing to get that message out and getting it into the hands of the consumer. I'm wondering for the audience here, if you're in retail or hospitality, or if you have customers in those industries, drop a 1 in the chat if you can see a use case where having the ability to, send these instant offers, instant notifications to your customers when foot traffic is slow or is low. Would that be of value to you? Drop a 1 in the chat if that's something that you're seeing would be of value to you or to a customer who maybe has this kind of situation that Tom is talking about. So Ray says 1, Kim says 1, already sold. Okay, awesome. Joe says 1. That's fantastic. Louis, I want to talk now about the case study here that we have with Claire's. This is a company that I know fairly well because I've got, how many girls do I have? I've got 3 girls. I've got so many kids, I can't remember how many are girls. I've got 3 girls who love Claire's. And I'd love for you to talk to us a little bit about this use case here, because I know something interesting happened when they added the Wallet Pass into the mix. So share the story with us here.
Yeah, absolutely. So they've always wanted, right, perfect population, younger generation, kind of playing with their phone. And so the wallet has always been a piece that has enamored this brand to figure out how do they get into it and how do they leverage it. And so the first opportunity that we got a chance to work with them, we took the idea of, reaching for, they have a very robust ear piercing program where, you get your ears pierced there and you ultimately get a number of different earrings throughout the year as part of that program. And so they wanted to create a mobile wallet card that broadcasts basically out those various different coupons, those monthly coupons, to get you hooked back in, because we all know when we get into the retail store, we walk away with more than just earrings, right? It's a full basket. So
You have girls, especially like I do. Yep.
that's it. And I'm a sucker too for my daughter. So yes, I walk in, there's a lot more than earrings. And so, when you're there, it's about a brand awareness piece. So just kind of hitting on some of the touch points. Brand awareness, right, was a big one for them. The recognition, the reminder on that cadence to kind of get back in. Other things that we worked on with them were putting together like geofences inside the cards so that when you got into a specific area, you may not remember that the new mall downtown has a Claire's, right? Or you're going out of town and, you can pick up those earrings. And so, activating the geo components, letting them know, hey, look, right behind the Macy's again, that's where we're located. So it really just kind of created this organic foot piece or foot traffic piece for them to really build out that program. And then as we kind of move further in our relationship, we've always talked about, getting the express checkout. And so, they could scan that barcode, like the CVS, the old key fobs we used to have at like the grocers or things like that. But, just being able to take that card out, scan it, and then starting to tie that into loyalty and points and really start to build out this truly personalized experience with them. And it's a unique one too. I'll mention that. It's mom, it's daughter, it's dad, it's daughter, right? So it's kind of multiple people coming together at the register. So this card kind of brings all those pieces together. That's why it's a really unique case study.
I see a couple of interesting points here from the audience that I want to throw at you, Lewis. One, where did it go? From my friend Tom Mackle asking why the use case here wouldn't apply to coupons in the wallet, but I don't think there's any reason why they wouldn't apply, correct?
No, absolutely. You could apply coupons, right? So one thing to note just real quick, Dave, is that, in the industry, some people have tried to use wallet cards and they made coupons. A true distinction with the wallet cards we talk about here in this presentation is that these cards have longevity, right? These cards are like an app. They're not meant to expire. So the front of this card in the example you see should be that coupon that gets scanned. Once it gets scanned, that coupon should fatigue similar to an airline ticket. And you just keep rolling out new offers and deals on the front of that card.
Tom, let us know if that answered your question. Mike is kind of talking similarly to what you just said here, Lewis. Mike is saying, am I understanding correctly that once the card is in the consumer's wallet, it could be used as a virtually perpetual updatable card that could be instantly updated by the enterprise?
110%. So imagine this, right? So phase one for them is kind of testing out the ear piercing. Most brands like to do multiple phases, but we can completely transform the look, feel, and content of this card in a matter of minutes to their tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of customers, all within the portal. So if they want to bolster a program or add an addition or completely transform what was happening because they see a market opportunity or market fit, they can do that overnight with the technology. That card, once it's in, stays there forever unless the consumer removes it.
Julie is asking an interesting question here. How do you get a person to get the app on their phone? How would you answer that, Lewis?
So if they already have an app, is that?
I think let's clarify. It's a good question. So Julie, which app are you referring to? Because most, if not all, I believe, Lewis, modern phones, iPhone, Android, they come with the
wallet with the app.
I think that's what she's referring to. Yeah.
Pardon me, I was thinking Claire's with app and card together. Yes. So all Apple products that are phones, not the iPads, but the phone base over the last 7 years, the Apple Wallet is pre-installed and cannot be removed. It is a part of the core system of the phone. On the Android side, there's about 18,000 Android devices. So typically about 70% of those phones are going to automatically have the Google Wallet installed. Caveat, if you were to scan a card and you had one of those unlucky phones that would not have a Google Wallet, that card would auto add kind of in a limbo, and you would get a pop-up that would say you need to install the Google Wallet. You press OK, the wallet installs, and the card is preloaded already in the wallet. So the experience is all of about 4 to 5 seconds.
Julie, let us know if that answered your question. Tom is saying good answer. Tom, I'm curious, I know that you have a focus in political. What are you seeing here, Tom, that might be useful in that space? Lewis, here's another one. I want to move on to case study number 3 here from Drexel University. I know that they had an interesting challenge keeping their alumni, connected after graduation. I get some notifications from my, school, and I know that it's challenging to break through the clutter and get my attention. So I'm curious how they used this solution to solve that issue, and talk to us about what happened once they did that.
Yeah. So, that is a big problem, right? That younger generation, the 22, 23 graduates, emails are changing, phone numbers are changing, they're kind of going off into their own. And so the postgraduate connection becomes very difficult for a school.
Yep.
And there are studies that show, and they have these stats, that if we could keep an alum engaged over time, there's a significant higher chance that we can bring their children back to school and ultimately kind of, service the family with that education. So, and then of course there's donation, there's gifts, there's all sorts of incentives and benefits they want to bring back to the alumni as kind of a thank you and keep them connected. But, the idea is post-graduation, you get your welcome email and kind of, here's the career center, here's key dates, we thank you so much. And they're putting that card right in that welcome email. They're going to put it at key events kind of leading into graduation. You scan it, you put in your education email that you get it specifically from Drexel, and it would then give you a personalized alumni card for you with all of the details, where you graduated, the major, things like that. It serves as a benefits section as well, because they do partner with like a Nationwide and Allstate and give you some discounts. They have other perks where you get access to their gymnasium and things like that. So that is a scannable card to get on-prem to be able to use some of their facilities. It's a benefit spot where the school can advertise some of the perks and value add that the school has. And it's a way, of course, with the perpetuity and messaging, to just continue to remind their postgraduates about all the great things that Drexel is doing in the industry, and reminding them about why they went there, and the importance of the alma mater, basically.
Who here services higher education? Let us know there in the chat if you do. Lewis, before I go to the 4th case study here, tell us a little bit about how this can be used in Canada. I see Mike asking a good question. We've got Castle, the Canadian privacy laws are a little bit different than here in the United States, et cetera. What's your understanding of how this applies in Canada?
Yeah, great question again. So one thing to note, the card's double opt-in. So there's the implicit opt-in when you're clicking or scanning to get that card. Two, the card will slide up with an add or cancel button. So you're double opting in, which makes this GDPR compliant, because you can remove the card at any time, which removes it out of the system. We support 100+ languages in the card itself. So the brand could have an English, card, but, locally, if you want to observe Mandarin or French or Spanish, you can go onto the back of the card and just modify the language set to be your local language. So it works international, it works multi-country, across countries, in a number of ways. One last thing I wanted to add, just an example of an alumni card, schools all over, there are other case studies, admissions, student media groups that are creating student media cards to kind of drive engagement between businesses and students, and even campus safety. So it doesn't stop, I guess I want to say, at the alumni, just that one vertical of education. We've seen 5 to 6 different applications and activations in all sorts of different departments.
Joe, you're reading our mind here, or reading our talking points. Joe is asking, are there any applications in which this is being used in the nonprofit space, which is a good segue into this next example here, which I think you're going to touch on nonprofits here in a moment. So, Lewis, I like this case study. This is actually a small, as I understand it, a borough in Pennsylvania that changed how they interact or connect with their community, with their constituents. So tell us about this one, and what did they learn through this experience?
Yeah. So this one's interesting. So, they have 2 primary driving factors. And again, this is called a B2G nonprofit. They're also related with, an economic development committee, but their problem case was they wanted to be able to communicate real time with critical infrastructure. So like they had a couple of key bridges on the river. They have a couple of like downtown things. So economic development is one, and key infrastructure is 2. And so obviously sending out local alerts, geofencing it around the community, we can target people and say, hey, as you're driving through, snow impact, bridge down, emergency services, street closure. It really kind of broadcasts that immediate need that they were looking for. And then inversely, They do a lot with like, I'm in the neck of the woods of Pennsylvania, but similar to like a First Friday where there's tree lightings and there's, downtown business economic groups that are kind of having the shops downtown on the street. They work very closely with those businesses, with those brands. And this becomes a way that it could be a ticket. It can advocate different businesses. It can drive the economic dollar locally. And then obviously there's larger case studies that kind of focus more on the impact of like tourism and hotel tax and kind of driving it. And nonprofits, the same thing. It's just instead of it being more focused on the economic side, the economics are more driven towards the give, the donation, the purchasing of merchandise, things like that, that ultimately are the backbone for a lot of these nonprofits.
I want to know, now that Lewis has gone through these case studies and Tom and Kushal have kind of articulated the different ways these can be used. I'm looking at some specific friends here in the audience. Peter, the Peter that I've been talking to via email. I want to know, what are you seeing here? What are you thinking? My friend, I'm going to call him Pink and Doughy. He knows who I'm referring to here. Pink and Doughy. I want to know, what do you think about this as you think about your direct mail clients and the, incredible brands that you service across, the world, but really in the United States particularly. How do you see this tying into the direct mail that you're doing for those customers? And I miss you, by the way, man. Tom is saying political would benefit most from a persistent presence to mobile pass users. So political mail, Tom's got a deep experience set there. Interesting to see how he's looking at it for that use case. Now, Kushal, we're all about data-driven marketing, of course, and the insights that we get out of this kind of technology is very, very valuable to brands and to the printers and agencies that are here. So talk to us a little bit about the unified view of data and analytics that become available to folks when they employ this kind of channel or communication as part of the Omnichannel experience. There we go again. Big countdown.
Yes,
There he is.
thank you, Dave. So as you can see on the screen from what Dave is showing, the wallet pass, the data that we capture from the wallet pass represents a classic sales funnel. I mean, we send out direct mail to, or email in certain cases, to a group of people. They scan the passes. Some of them install and some of them will, as you heard from Lewis, through the double opt-in process. Some of them may choose not to install. So there's the install process. And once you install the pass, at the back of the pass, there is a registration option. So there is a classic funnel here, and the registration option actually allows you to select your preferences in terms of what kind of messaging you want to receive. It's possible to do that, and so that you can personalize the messages even further depending on people's preferences, and we can capture all that data. And that's what you're seeing here on the screen. Now, we can also capture the messaging engagement activities, as we call it, as people are receiving the messages, which some of you did, as I saw from the chat, that we did send out some messages during the webinar, and some of you responded to those. So I saw that on the chat. Thank you very much for participating. But we capture the data also, and we can present that data as well. Now, MindFire sits on top of a NoSQL technology, which also allows us to create unique dashboards specific to your or your customer's needs. So it's also possible very easily to create additional dashboards that you may need specific to your customer's requirements. We are actually working with Tom and his team on certain specific requirements of his. So that's also entirely possible. So Dave, does that kind of answer the question?
Yeah, I just want to make sure everyone sees this. If you look at the screen here, Kushal's got an example of the kind of analytics that are available. So take a look there. Let us know if you have any questions. I see Frank saying, miss ya and love this technology and would like to take a deep dive later to discuss this with some of my retail clients. That's exactly what I was thinking about there, Frank, because I know you've got some large accounts there that might benefit from this. Kushal, if you delete the card from your wallet, does that end all tracking capabilities?
I can take it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So that would, right. So removing a card from the wallet will disconnect those details inside of the platform. Now, there will be some of those historical data that will have like when that person did prior install and things like that. But yes, effectively, they'd be removed out from the tracking capabilities to keep it compliant.
Yes. So we are keeping all the information that has happened in the past. We're not getting rid of that. But there is not going to be any further interaction with that specific person. But keep in mind, though, if the person goes through the registration process, then we are capturing that person's information and we are adding him or her into our database. So now you can have organically some organic leads that's coming in through this process that you did not have before. So that's also, something that you have to keep in mind.
Louis, I'm curious, from your POV, from your perspective, how are brands using the analytics, the data that you're seeing here on the screen to kind of optimize their messaging and their engagement strategies? Because it's great to have the data, but you got to act on it. And I'm curious, how are you seeing folks using this information to then take a next step in their strategy?
Yeah, a couple different ways. So I guess from a messaging perspective, right now you can see similar to that of like a newsletter that you might send. If you send out a message and you significantly see the adoption start to like people remove that wallet card. Right now, you know that maybe that messaging was perhaps spammy or just unrelevant and it didn't resonate with individuals. But alternatively, there's all sorts of tracking capabilities in the card. So if you're deploying a message or a geofence and engagement starts to happen within the card, you'll see those data metrics go up, right? Links, phone calls, clicks, you'll get that all that tracking capability. So understanding that data in the dashboard really helps you identify like what is working once the card's out. But maybe kind of just to lean a little bit on the front side of it, as Kushal mentioned, you can create a number of different like QR codes and different links to kind of drive individuals or audiences to get this card. And you can see all of these different funnels come together. So those efforts get tracked and it'll help you identify what's the best course of acquisition, right, for your audience. Because you may find out, you have all these different socials, but Facebook seems to outperform when you talk about your member card, or in person really just works well. So, segmenting the data and then using and reflecting on those segments will certainly help you optimize the adoption rate and get the most out of the card.
Okay. I see Pete saying that his brain is spinning, thinking of all the opportunities. I'd like to take a deeper dive to see how to best offer this to our customer base. Peter, we're local, man. It's a sin that I'm not over there talking to you in person about this. So I'm going to drop my cell phone actually here in the chat for everyone. Text me or, follow up with me if you want to be connected with your account manager, or if you want to talk one-on-one about what Louis and Tom and Kushal are talking about here. That is my cell phone. Text me anytime there if you do want to take the next step and talk about this in a little bit more detail. So Peter, love to talk to you about that. Mike is saying here, could purchase information be captured if the wallet card was set up as a discount or offer coupon? Please describe that workflow, specifically if the wallet card would have to connect with the retail POP system. Louis?
Yeah, so you can bring data in, and this gets a little technical, but I'll kind of break it down the best as possible. So if, let's say we're deploying a card via email to our membership base, our population, or maybe as well in mail. When I add that card, me, Louis, it will consume information at the time I add it. So it might grab my address, it might grab my phone number, my email, and ultimately identify who I am. Inside the card, you can then very quickly integrate that data back into the point of sale system and pull transactional data out, right? So if we know this card is my phone number, we can then go back into the point of sale, if that's where that data lives, and pull out all Lewis's transactional history. And then we can adjust bright points on the front of the card to say, oh, he's spent $300, so he gets 300 points. Or he transacted last week, so we're going to change the card color because, we want to let him know he's a premium spender at our facility. So the answer is absolutely yes. You can bring data into the card, and then you can leverage that data out to connect to these various different systems and really personalize the card for whatever type of point of sale, donation systems, sales systems that the customer might have.
Mike, forgive me. Remind me the company that you're with and the use case that you're thinking of, the kind of customer use cases you're thinking of there in the chat, because I want to make sure that we get you the answers that you need. Louis, thank you for going into that detail.
Sure.
Now, with the time we have left here, folks, about 10 minutes, here's what I want you to do. I want everyone to be super selfish here. And what I mean by that is you've got some incredible expert insight here on the panel from Kushal, Tom, who's using this for casinos, Lewis, that's got a number of use cases that he's seeing. Ask the questions that are on your mind about how this could apply in your situation. If I've missed a question here in the chat or something that you think is important, please copy and paste it, put it back in, and let's make sure we address those questions. So take a moment to think about that, drop that into the chat, and then I'm going to throw that here at the expert panel. One thing, Lewis, I don't want to forget here, a use case that we talked about as we were preparing is kind of the serialized opportunity that these passes provide to us. So can you talk to us about that and how you see that being used in different industries?
Yeah, absolutely. So on the inside the card, you can embed a bunch of different things. So the thing we were talking about, Dave, is inside the card, you could put like this redeem option. So imagine you download this discount card, you go and do something with some brand, right? Let's say it's Jeep and you're going to go and redeem a test drive for some type of offer. When you get into store, you could press that redeem option in the back of the card, which ultimately would kind of bring up a camera experience, and you could like scan a barcode or scan a redeem code or something like that, which kind of activates some type of transaction on the card, right? And the card could then convert into a gift card, or it can convert into a point thing, or it can morph into the next event. So the serialized piece on the back is really the ability that you can enable a camera in the back of the card and kind of build a redeem experience or activation and make that card interactive with the brand itself.
Fantastic. Before I forget here, I want to make sure, Carissa, let's throw this up on the screen for everyone so that we can continue this conversation, not only specific to the wallet pass and all the different use cases that Lewis has been talking about, but I want to make sure that you join us in, I don't know if this is our next event or if we've got other events in between, but an upcoming event that we're presenting with Sylvamo and the United States Postal Service, USPS. What we're talking about today is one mechanism for engaging your audience. And of course, we believe strongly in the impact power of direct mail as, one of the opportunities to engage an audience. And so the wallet pass, direct mail, email, digital, all of those things work together in the omnichannel framework. Specifically, what we're doing here with USPS in this next event and with Sylvamo is talking about the mail growth incentive, MGI, as it's called by the insiders. So this is for you if you are a direct mail printer or if you employ a lot of direct mail. This is a 30% discount, a 30% credit on postage, on direct mail postage, once you hit or achieve a certain threshold. So if you want to know what that is, if you want to learn more about how to do that, join this event. Let us know here in the chat. I think Carissa is going to drop in the registration link. I want to make sure you get that because direct mail plus this wallet technology and all of the other omni-channel stuff that we are talking about can have a significant impact for you if you're a mail owner, a brand, an end customer, if you will, of one of the printers or agencies that's here in the room, or if you're a printer and you're not talking to your customers about wallet technology, the mail growth incentive, the postage promotions. Man, you're going to have a hard time competing this year. I want to make sure you have what you need to be competitive. So, Carissa, thank you for dropping that into the chat there. I'm going to go to the other questions here. Lewis, I'm going to come to you on this next one from Kim. Kim is saying, hey, how about fintech? Can you pay or donate from the pass?
Yes. Yeah, you certainly can. So kind of twofold. One, because the card is inside the wallet, we could put a button or a mechanism on the back of the card to say pay. And it would then pull up Apple Pay if you have a configured credit card, or if you're in Google, it could pull up the Google Pay. Inversely, some brands that might be already tied to a processor that just want to kind of take money, let's say it's a membership renewal, or let's say it's a membership premium, we could just put a hyperlink on the back. I know, Tom, we talked about that many times over, but you put a link, it opens up a mobile experience on their website, and it's a very quick transaction. So we kind of drive push to open card to quickly then open up a payment link, and that experience unfolds in a few seconds.
Joe is saying if you send a person... Yes, go ahead, Kushal.
So Dave, just to add on top of what Louis just said, we have worked with a nonprofit to actually put a link on an image at the back of the pass where you just tap on it and it takes you to a payment site where we integrate into Stripe and you can do the payment. So,
lovely. Yeah. Very good. That's helpful. Kim, let us know if that answered your question. Joe is saying if you send a personalized QR code, a PQR code, that automatically pre-fills with the person's contact info, can it be changed if another person wants to register? Joe, if I understand your question correctly, typically in that workflow, what we would recommend on the landing page is a little link or something that says, not Joe, ? And they can click on that, and the other person can fill in their information and add themselves to whatever the promotion or the campaign is in your particular use case. So Joe, let me know if I answered your question there. Michael is saying, I would like to understand how you can send out a customized API QR on a one-to-one basis so that when they scan it, your dialogue with them is started. Lewis, are you following what Michael is saying there?
It sounds like possibly doing personalized cards, like on a membership, like a per person card. So possibly you could do a push notification just to Lewis versus different than Kushal's. Am I understanding that right? Think.
Let's see, Michael, let us know there in the chat if you can clarify that use case. Oh, he's saying yes,
Yeah.
Lewis.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So I touched on that a little bit, but again, it was a little technical. So let's say we are going to use mail. We can embed different QR codes on every piece of mail so that when I scan this, let's say Smithsonian card off of the Smithsonian mailer, it's bound to my address and you know who I am, right? Or you could do that off of email. And so when I add it from my email, that's what they do a lot with the education. When you're deploying a card to your alumni base, it's pre-registered to that person's email. So if the alumni director or coordinator wanted to do a direct one-on-one push to that particular postgraduate, they certainly could, because they would know based on the email that they downloaded that card.
Very
Right.
good. Michael, let us know if that answered your question.
If I may add to this, Dave, this is exactly what is at the core of the MindFire integration into the wallet group, because that's exactly what you do, that we are generating a personalized QR code to load your personalized card.
There you go. Folks, I want to be respectful of everyone's time. We have 2 minutes left. If you have a question for Tom, if you have a question for Lewis or Kushal or for myself, please let us know there in the chat. As you're doing that, I have a question for all of you. I would like you to take a few seconds here and think for a moment. What was the aha moment that you had today? What was the one takeaway, maybe something that I was taking notes myself here, something that maybe you wrote down that stood out to you in the discussion today? Please take a moment to share that in the chat. Not only is it helpful for us, but it's also helpful when I read that back to all of you here so that you can see how your peers are thinking about this. So please take a moment, drop that into the chat, and please let us know what it is that stood out to you in the presentation today. Tom, I'm curious from your perspective, as you're looking at helping your customers begin to take the journey of using these passes, what is the most common, I don't want to say objection, but what is the most common question that they have as you're beginning to talk to them about this? What's the kind of question or questions that come up early in that journey as they begin to wrap their minds around how to use this? What would you say that is?
One of the biggest questions that we come across is, hey, how is this different from my native app? And if I wanted to get a native app, what would be the advantages of this versus a native app? And a couple of things are the cost, the time it takes to produce that native app, and the advanced communication capability that we have here.
Interesting. That's very helpful to hear. Hopefully that helped others here on the call as well. Linda is saying, thank you. A great presentation. Maybe fully understand how one of my clients could present this. I'm going to talk to people about it. Linda's also saying that the alumni use cases that were shared were helpful. Mike is saying what stood out is the ease of updating geo-based messaging. The example of the casino restaurant manager that sent an offer when things are slow. Kushal, I know that's one of your favorite use cases, the buffet use case. Brenda is saying that was her question. I guess maybe the question about the app. Brenda, is that what you're referring to? And Michael is saying, I guess what was informative for him is the ubiquitous nature of digital wallets. Yeah, that's also very interesting to see it just from the community that's here. So I want to give everyone an opportunity to get this recording. If you would like to get the recording of today's event, please let us know there in the chat. Drop your best email, or if you want a colleague, perhaps somebody who wasn't able to attend today, to get this material, to help get them up to speed with this conversation so that you can then think about how to apply this in your business for your clients. Please let us know there. Drop it in the chat. Joe is saying he wants the recording. Joe, happy to get that over to you. And to all of you who have been here with us today, my friend Steve, Ray, Peter, Murray, Mike, Manuel, Linda, Kim, John, Joe, all of you who are here with us, Brenda, of course, thank you for spending time with us today. I'm going to give Tom and Lewis an opportunity to kind of say some closing words here as we begin to wrap up. So Tom, I'm going to go to you. What word of encouragement would you give the audience if they're thinking about getting started with something like this, Tom?
Well, I would attack it head on because it's such an amazing product and there's so much versatility and so many different use cases that it can apply to. And it's so easy to construct and get messaging out. So it's a super high value product.
Yeah, I would say I would encourage everyone in that spirit, folks. If you're thinking, this is new, this is different, I can't wrap my head around this, or maybe it's going to take me some time to think about it. This is kind of like maybe when email first came out, there were a lot of people who are like, email? What is that? Like printing out a letter I wrote to somebody and sending it through my computer? There were a lot of weird questions that came up. Don't let the newness of this scare you off from thinking about how you can use this in your business. This is an opportunity to kind of do a land grab, to be a first mover, to be an evangelist for something that's truly unique so that you can stand out from those who are not on this call today and really provide some competitive differentiation to your customers if you provide them a service, or if you're a brand, for you to differentiate yourself from your competition. Louis, to somebody who's just thinking about getting started, what would you say to them?
Yeah, I was, Tom kind of took the words, but I would say just ask. I mean, there's been very few and far use cases that I have heard that would not work with a wallet. So, if you're unsure, just ask, just kind of run through the problem case. And there are just thousands of ways a wallet card can solve many of different situations.
All righty. Well, I want to make sure that we thank the MindFire team, Beth Jackson behind the scenes. Tom, I know that you've got folks that have helped you prepare for today. Louis, I think you do everything by yourself, man. You're a machine, but I'm sure you've got folks who have brought you to today. Kushal, thank you for being here as well. And of course, Carissa, who is the producer behind today's event. Let's give it up for her. If you got value out of today's session, please drop some X's and O's there in the chat. I want to make sure that our audience is able to appreciate you, panelists, and panelists that how impactful today's material was. I believe you've changed the course of some thinking here for people as they're thinking about how they're going to dominate 2025. I'm seeing the X's and O's come in from Linda. Linda, I saw your text as well. Thank you for that. Brenda, I see yours as well. And Ray, you're welcome. Thank you for being here, and hopefully it was useful to you. So folks, thank you for your time today. We will follow up with all of you as requested here in the chat, and make sure you get the recording and the materials that we discussed. Carissa, if you're quick enough, drop my cell phone once more into the chat there. Text me, follow up with your account manager. Let us know if you want to continue this conversation, and I will see you all very soon in our next event. Thank you, panel, and thank you, audience. Have a great rest of your day, everyone.
Thanks, Dave.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.